Welcome back, everybody. By now, you've heard that the president is canceling White House tours for the kids. Kids like these.
The White House is our house. Please let us visit.
Well, here's Jay Carney's lame explanation about why.
The Secret Service, like other agencies of government, is affected by the sequester. And the Secret Service presented options that ranged from canceling tours to potential furloughs and cuts in overtime. And in order to allow the Secret Service to best fulfill its core mission, the White House made the decision that we would unfortunately have to temporarily suspend these tours.
Decisions, Mr. President, decisions. It was you that decided to pony up for a boys' weekend golfing with Tiger Woods, and it was you that decided to take the family to Hawaii for Christmas, and you decided Michelle and the kids should go skiing in Aspen, and that's good for them, by the way. But why shut the doors on those kids in Iowa and Florida and Texas? I'll make you a deal, Mr. President. Jay Carney, grab your pencil. Let these families take their White House tours next week, and I'll cover the added expenses. Word is it'll cost around $74,000. If I can get the White House doors open, I'll pick up the tab. Mr. Carney, you know this is an offer you can't refuse. Give me a call. Bob, really? Really? And he takes
They can do a tour at my
all
apartment.
over the place. He's golfing all over the country.
Listen,
Wait a minute. I think we just realized that the 5 isn't your primary source of income.
Yeah.
Is this show your hobby?
Yeah.
Is this just something you do?
I care that much.
What if Kimberly and I volunteer to do the tours? Can we get in on that scratch?
Can I be perfectly honest with you? I will absolutely write the check if they open the doors next week and let that school from Iowa.
My vacation to Hawaii, Eric, was canceled because of sequestration.
Well, you know,
you sequestered
Pay him back.
Yes.
Oh, I see. You're looking at the
I wouldn't connect the golf and the Hawaii trip with any of this, but I would say this, that they clearly recognized that about a week ago they'd gone too far. Now, I defend Obama, as you all know, on this show every single day. On this one, I feel like the only fire hydrant at the Westminster Dog Show. I cannot bring myself to understand why there wasn't something else that could be cut. It is one of those things that is such a good story that how they would not expect it to travel around. Now, if you notice, Obama's begun to call Republicans. He's had some of them down. We'll get into this thing about his dinner. But I think he's finally decided that he's going to have to now change his tactic. But,
Kimberly, today, that soundbite from Jay Carney was from today.
Yeah.
He had a chance to say, hey, you know what, we changed our mind. The kids really need to see the White House.
They're behind the story now instead of ahead of it. Sad. And it's kind of interesting that they have this kind of political mishap because generally speaking, they've been able to make themselves look good no matter what the outcome. Here with a situation like this with kids, they should have avoided this photo op with the kids saying, oh, please let us in the White House. It's our house. And that visual image, that has an impact. That's something people can understand.
Why not, Andrea? Those kids, by the way, they were featured last night on, I believe, ABC. You think today the White House would say, you know what? This really is affecting our kids. Maybe we're going to change. We're going to find another place to cut.
This is a tin ear at its finest. They seem to not ever clean up messes when they first happen, which is the first rule of crisis communication. And then you have all these stories this week. They're advertising for 400 jobs, stories about the calligraphers, 3 calligraphers being employed by the White House at $277,000. I mean, it's just not believable. And basically, President Obama is saying, I'm choosing not to manage this sequester for public relations purposes. And it totally blew up in his face.
Well, I think he is trying to manage the sequester. I think he's going to get a sit down with the Republicans. But, Eric had a good idea for himself. Obama should have taken some of his campaign funds and said, I'll pay for it.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's another idea. Anything.
This is the presidential equivalent of a child slamming the door after being grounded. You know, he's not going to clean his room until he gets a tax increase. But I don't know. I'm not that sympathetic. And Iowan sixth graders Iowan sixth graders, let me finish, are going to D.C. for a field trip. When I was in 6th grade, we went to a petting zoo down the road, which had a shelf of diseased rabbits.
Are you jealous?
I am jealous, for gosh sakes. By the way, they're going to turn any misfortune that occurs, and they're going to blame it on the sequestration. No matter what happens, if a dog gets hit by a truck, they're going to say sequestration drove the truck.
You know, I was in the hospital 2 nights ago, and the immune specialist came in. I bet you that's what happened to you.
Yeah.
You got bit by one of those rats.
You're saying that with a cast on your hand.
Can we do this very quickly? We only have about a minute or so. The White House last night, President Obama invited 12 Republican senators to the White House to talk about. I'm not sure what they talked about. Angie, you have any intel on it?
I think this is ridiculous that they would hold it at the Jefferson Hotel, at the Plume restaurant, where it's $250 for a wine tasting. I get maybe they didn't want to do it on Obama's turf at the actual White House. But look, the visual, the split screen of senators like Rand Paul trying to do what they were doing in the Senate, and these other old guard senators drinking wine and swilling and rubbing elbows and hobnobbing with President Obama, when it's a PR ploy. President Obama was using those senators. Why would they believe, Bob, after 5 years, somehow he wants to extend an olive branch?
The audience for this is not in Washington, D.C. or New York City. It's for the country. And they see Obama inviting these people and think it's a good idea.
They think it's nice.
They should have rescheduled.
I think you should pay for that dinner.
I probably did. You know, I'm probably going to get a bill from them.
But you know what? That was too flashy.
Amazing.
I think it doesn't make that looks like, you know, fancy people, 1%ers hobnobbing.
He's the White House chef. You're already paying the guy.
Totally.
That's a good point. I think
doesn't make any sense.
They can't afford him. He got to work furlough
They never
for the day.
think in the White House. The BP oil spill went on for weeks. They didn't think about that. They don't seem to have any sense of reality. It's bizarre.
We got to
They
go.
need Bob
We gotta go.
Beckel back.
Coming up.